Boom, we're getting into the good stuff here. We're getting past the beginning phases. You met the girl. The next phase is you get comfortable talking to her. You eject early sometimes, but you're getting more comfortable sticking in there, sticking it out. Don't eject out. Get comfortable sticking in 20, 30 minutes. That's really the whole first night of what a newbie boot camp would be about, is getting more and more relaxed, more and more comfortable with that. Night two, what we're going to be doing is reinforcing that some more, because one night is definitely not enough experience. Usually it's more like 5 years experience is enough. And once you get to that point, then you're starting to really get comfortable and we can work on some other things. Of course, you're always going to be working on other things throughout this process. And throughout this whole product, we're going to be working on a lot of other things. So even if you are a newbie, don't be afraid to go on to the intermediate and advanced sections, because there's things you're going to learn there that are going to reinforce the things that you've learned here. And hopefully you are going out and experiencing and supplementing your learning experience through actually going out. You're going to learn more from going out than you are from this product, but hopefully I'm going to steer you in the right direction. So the reason I boomed you at the beginning here, and the reason why I love this, is because on my blog, on my website, I sometimes hint at the escalation side of things and the end game, but I have family members reading my website, and I have ex-girlfriends and current girlfriends reading it, so I can't really get as explicit as I want to. And even though I'm sure they're going to check out the products as well, I really want to give you everything, the full boat here. So as we get into endgame, this is really the meat and some of the fun shit happens. And I'll get into some stories as well. One concern I hear from a lot of guys as they start hearing about all these theories of what to say, how to say it, they start getting some experience. There's some old school ideas out there of how to pick up a girl, and it is very strategic. Even though right now I'm going very linear, of first you approach, then you do this, then you do that. There used to be even more serious ones where step one was to build attraction, step two is to build comfort. And you hear I don't really talk much during the actual process of the timeline about building attraction, building comfort, and seducing, all these. I don't even like the word seduction. That's just like a weird word to me. That stuff's happening throughout. There are specific things that I'm working on. Up until this point, if I would think about what am I trying to convey, the mindset, what was the mindset again for the newbie? I hope you said awesome. I feel like I'm watching Nickelodeon here. Awesome! Yeah, you're right. So all I'm trying to do in the initial phases of approaching is just to be loud and be awesome. Just show her how awesome I am. Show her I'm fucking cool. Yeah. And what happens is guys get confused then, because they're used to a structured linear game plan, especially for what they're saying. So they're talking, they're having a conversation, and they feel that it's not going anywhere. So they'll ask me, it's not going anywhere. How should I lead it? How should I move it forward? And they think that using the words is what's going to move it forward into this end game era, in this end game part of the interaction. And that's actually not really very accurate. It's actually a lot more subtle. There's a lot more subtlety to it. What is moving the interaction forward is her exposure to you. The more she's seen you consistently being awesome, consistently being outside your head, having fun, not making mistakes, or you do and you deal with it, that's what's getting her to trust you enough until the point that she sees you and she starts thinking, oh, this guy is cool, and he's still cool. That's fantastic. And because she still thinks you're the guy you are, at some point she's going to trust you enough. For me, I feel that to have sex with a woman, it comes down to having enough attraction, she likes you enough, and she trusts you enough. Those are the two. The attraction, that comes from just being awesome, being the loud, fun, outgoing guy. And the trust comes from being consistently the same, not showing her mixed signals. And the funny thing is because we're at the newbie level, this guy is going to be sending a lot of mixed signals. He's going to be sending a lot of high value stuff, good tonality, good eye contact, but maybe all of a sudden the friend comes in and he freaks out. Or some dude pushes him and he freaks out and gets all emotional. Or she says something and all of a sudden he gets pissed off and gets emotional about that. He's reactive certain times. Maybe he has some weird low value tendencies, like his body language is a little bit off. And the women get really confused. It's kind of funny. It's almost as if you were talking to a woman, you turned to the left, turned back, and she gained like 200 pounds and was full of slime or something like that. That's basically how quickly you can shift, because women, what do they respond to again? Behaviors. And you can very easily switch between the two behaviors. And I think a lot of what happens when you hit the beginner to intermediate, especially from intermediate to the advanced level, is you start really fine-tuning these high value traits, and you get really comfortable and internalize them, and they just come out naturally, and you remove and expunge all the low value bullshit to the point where it's just high value awesomeness all the time. And that's when really quickly, 3-5 minutes, a girl can see you and know who you are and want to sleep with you after 5-10 minutes. So that's something to work towards. First is learning what those high value things are, which I've been showing you throughout the process, and then realizing the low value things that you have, and start working on that process of honing these ones and cutting out these ones. The other thing that's going to be moving things forward into this end game realm is the fact that she's going to be testing you constantly. So on the newbie level, the things that I want you to start recognizing are when she verbally tests you. So a lot of times, as I said, when you're sending those mixed signals, she'll feel that you're high value, but she feels that there's something a little bit off there, and she doesn't know exactly what it is, so she'll test you. Let's say you're a little bit older. Let's say, whatever old is, let's say you're 30, I'm 30, so I'm going to say I'm old, and she's 18. She might say, how old are you? You look old. And what old guys will think is, oh no, she thinks I'm old. And because they think it's weird, all of a sudden she thinks it's weird. And she sees your eye contact has changed, and your face, it just changes. And she sees that she got you with that little bit test, and you're pretty much done right there. Those tests are the other thing that's going to move it forward. She's going to see how you're responding. Do you respond emotionally? Are you heavily invested in the interaction? Because what happens is, as you get more comfortable, more relaxed, you get that shit test once, you learn how to deal with it, and you just push right through. So another example is you go up and you say some cool line. She goes, is that your pickup line? And in your head you're thinking, oh my God, I just learned about this shit. It was my pickup line. She knows. And she sees that you're caught off guard. So she sees that you're not the type of guy that she would want to talk to. Another example that's really good for the plowing thing that we just got over talking about with what to say is something that happens regularly in Manhattan, in New York, is I had the girl, she just doesn't talk. I'll go up, I'll be like, hey, you're cute, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're not talking. That's interesting. Well, good thing I like talking about myself. I'm having a lot of fun, I'm in New York, blah, 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 blah. And literally for the first couple minutes, she's not even talking, but I can see I'm wearing her down and she's trying not to smile. But because she sees that I'm comfortable just being there, talking, after a while she breaks down and starts laughing and really enjoys it. And she told my friend even that whenever a guy comes up to talk to her, she basically just doesn't talk for the first 5 minutes just to see what he does, which I think is actually a very smart tool for a woman to screen out the right type of guy. Only a cool guy is going to be comfortable pushing beyond that initial barrier and get through that. And basically every guy that gets there is probably going to be pretty kick-ass or pretty drunk. Luckily, we're the kick-ass one. So you need to be comfortable kind of pushing through that initial test and see it for what it is. That comes back again to the idea of reframing, is anything is just going to be a test. It's not that she's a bitch. It's not that she's offish. Jesus, I can't say that. It's just that she's testing you, and she's just a little bit shy. So everything is an opportunity to move things forward. Usually when guys get any sign of resistance, the girl's not responding the way they want to, they freak out and eject and run away. For me, that's an opportunity, because I know what happens when you pass the test. She's testing to see if you're a cool guy. Are you a cool guy? If you pass the test, she's like, oh, this guy is cool. And when you convey that you are, she's going to like you even more. Attraction's going to go up. So anytime I get one of those tests, I'm actually I know that I'm moving the interaction forward, as opposed to it being some scary thing that I don't know how to deal with. Usually, after it happens once, happens twice, whenever it happens again, those are actually fun. It makes it fun, enjoyable, and you can really amp up the conversation as she gives you more shit to work with. Now, we've gone through the process of approaching, plowing, dealing with shit tests, what to say. The next step is getting a little bit more intimate and starting to get physical with the girl. If you've had relationships in the past, basically all I'm going to say is pretend the girl is like the girlfriend you've had. And the goal is, instead of just bridging the gap of just being the social person, I'm just here to have fun. Now the goal is to be, oh, this is my girlfriend that I've known for 6 months. Hey, come here, let's talk for a bit. And getting comfortable, getting physical. The first step, if you're not comfortable whatsoever, is I have a couple rules that can kind of help you out. Later on, you're going to want to let go of these, but to start off, at this stage of the game, if you are the newbie who is not comfortable getting physical, I think a great rule is within the first minute of the interaction, find a reason to get physical. So not even so much just any sort of physicality, it's a hug, right? And what you'll realize is there's different degrees of directness you can go. So to go and hug her front on, just hug her like this, that's going to be a pretty direct thing. But if you talk to the girl and you're like, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Oh, cool, that's great. Whoop, whoop, and you give her a side hug, that doesn't take as much intimacy to kind of have that come across. And what I want you to realize is anytime you're getting physical, you have to have meaning behind it. So some guys, they read that physicality is important, and they're talking to the girl, and they just kind of touch her on the side, and there's no meaning behind it. They're just doing it to do it, and it's just fucking weird. The other thing, while we're talking about that, make sure to not be static with it. You always want to have a shifting sands, dynamic physicality. So maybe for a little while you have the hand over the shoulder, then the hand on the lower back. Maybe you're holding her hips for a little while, but you never want to be in one place too long. For me, I actually try not to talk too much about physicality, because usually what happens, just like the interview mode, more often than not, all physicality does is create another barrier in your head, another thing to worry about. So when you're talking to the girl, all you're thinking about is, I haven't gotten physical yet. I haven't gotten physical yet. Holy shit, I need to get physical. I need to run the train. What am I going to do? When am I going to get physical? It's just another reason you get in your head and you end up ejecting. For me, I don't think physicality is that important. And the problem is most guys don't know why to get physical. So they fuck it up and they don't know when or when not to. And as you get into the intermediate level, most guys in the intermediate level are over physical beyond what they need to be because they think it's some weird trick and it's important to move things forward. So I'm just going to put that disclaimer on it. But yes, you do need to get physical and you need to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable getting physical with a woman, this is the area of your game during this stage of being the newbie where you need to get that comfort going. And I like something I got from one of the old instructors, Ozzy. What he said is use the reward principle. And basically what you do is you reward her for anything with a hug. So let's say you're talking and she says she's been to Paris. And you say, oh my God, I've been to Paris too. I love Paris. Oh, that's fantastic. Give her a hug for being to Paris. Makes sense, kind of. But you can lower your criteria just like you lower it for what you say and for what you think is a success. Lower the criteria for what you reward her for. So you look at her, she's drinking a beer. Oh my God, you're drinking a beer. That's fantastic. I love girls that drink beer. Give me a hug. Yeah. Or even like, oh, you're breathing. I love girls that breathe. Give me a hug. Yeah. So what the funny thing is, it's not so much, again, verbally, it doesn't matter really at all. But what it is your decisiveness. So I think more than anything, it's actually to trick yourself than anything else. You create the rule of rewarding her with physicality so you feel comfortable and then as you feel comfortable, she's going to feel comfortable because you do. And that's just a process that I think everyone should go through of getting comfortable, grabbing girls, getting physical, hands on hips, all these sorts of things. And then what happens is as you do it more and more, you start scaling it back as you hit the intermediate, especially in the advanced level. You're not going to do as much physicality as I did in the past, and that's pretty consistent for any guy. Again, at the stage we're at here, with us being in the beginner's timeline, what does physicality convey, and when should you do it? I gave you the first 1 minute rule, and the other thing is what I want to do is just cross that threshold and get into the physical realm. Sure that I'm comfortable with it, but from then, I'm relaxed. I don't need to do it all the time. I think what happens is you touch that girl, she feels soft, she feels nice, and you want to keep touching her just because it feels good. Once that barrier is crossed, for me, I don't even need to worry about getting physical anymore. Of course, there are certain girls, you need to see the window, and this is something that you literally get from the only way you're going to get this is from experience, is you see the window for, okay, this specific girl, she needs more. She needs me to push her up against the wall, pin her up against the wall, go for the choke makeout or whatever sort of dominance activity. And those are the type of things you're going to probably figure out from screwing it up, where you're talking to the girl, you don't get physical enough, and because of that, it kind of blows out. That's another thing that happens very regularly on guys on the first night of boot camp when they're newbies and they're moving to the second night, is they feel they have a lot of interactions go for 10, 15 minutes, and then they just kind of simmer down. Is that your experience? I'm assuming if you are here at the newbie level, that's usually what happens. Or for guys that forget about these things at times. And what happened was there was some window of opportunity to move things forward, and you were just blind to it. You didn't have the intuition to pick up on that. And because of that, it just died down. This relates to a story that I like telling at this point, which I think is pretty kick-ass. One of the hottest girls I've ever been with. She was gorgeous. We were in Las Vegas, and we were in the club Excess, which is my favorite club in the world. Of all the 40-plus countries I've been to, Excess is by far the best. Some $110 million nightclub. And we're hanging out, and I glance over, and I see this girl. For whatever reason, she looks at me. I look at her. We make pretty kick-ass eye contact, turn away, go back, hang out with my friends, talk to some other girls. Some shit goes down. Make eye contact again. And I'm still kind of in this weird friend headspace where I'm just talking to friends and nothing ends up happening. All of a sudden later on, we're out by the pool. I see my girl again. There she is. She doesn't see me. And I start thinking, okay, this is going to be great. I saw her before. We had really good eye contact. I know this is down. I know she wants it. So as I'm about to go up and approach, all of a sudden some other RSD intern goes up and she goes, "Fuck you, get away." I'm like, holy shit. I thought this girl was cool, and I thought this was going to go really well, but she's a bitch. This is crazy. Maybe I totally misread the situation. But my intuition, I had to trust intuition. So I roll up from behind, tap her on the shoulder, and say, "Hey." And she turns, and before she sees me, she says, "Get the fuck, oh my God, it's you." And I completely, by surprise, because of the eye contact before, or whatever reason, she's totally down. So we're talking for a bit, and I think it's going really well. And all of a sudden, I move her over to the couch very smoothly. It's fucking sick. Isolate her on the couch. We chat for a little bit, and all of a sudden it's time to go. So I tell her, "Hey, we're going to my place. We're going to grab some takeout and just eat it over at my place. It's going to be great." And she's totally cool with it. We hit the road and go. So go home, amazing sex. Everything is fantastic. I love it. It was fucking sick. But the next day, when I thought about it, I was kind of breaking things down, and I thought, all of a sudden, she was actually right next to me at the bar when I approached her, even though she didn't realize it was me. Prior to that, she had. Very interesting that it was very easy to approach her, and she was right there. And come to think of it, she did say her feet were hurting when I moved her to the couch. And also come to think of it, when we left, she's like, "I'm really hungry. We should get some food." And in my head, I thought, oh, let's get some food and move her back. So actually, if I really think about it, she picked me up. She was the pickup girl there, but she couldn't be overtly saying, "Let's just get out of here, let's have sex." She had to make it more subtle. But luckily, I had the experience to pick up on those windows and move things forward. The only way that came from, again, is the fact that I've had enough experience to go out enough and see when those windows are. So what you need to do as the newbie is find where those windows are at. So at first, you're going to be over here, you're going to be over there. You're not going to escalate enough, you're going to escalate too much. You're going to go and you're going to caveman some girl, and she's going to freak out because you just pushed it way too hard physically, even though you were owning it. And then you're going to go over here and not do it enough. And what you do over time is you fine tune in to right where you need to be, and you hit that sweet spot where you have just enough physicality to convey the right things, to be the leader, yet you don't do it all, and you don't push it to the point where you release the sexual tension. As the beginner here, I don't want you thinking, "Where's the sexual tension? Where's all this stuff?" The beginner phase, your whole goal is just to fuck shit up. Go out and have some fun, because you're going to learn. Every approach, every interaction is going to be a learning lesson. Just keep on pushing your comfort zone, and keep pushing how long you stay in the interaction for. I don't want you thinking to do the perfect approach to lead to getting the girl. As long as you're going out enough, it's going to happen. With that said, also, if your first night out, your first approach ever, it's going really well and you end up leaving with the girl, don't think, "Oh no, I need to work on my approaching some more." Just take that one, go with it. That's really going to help you out for later on, once you get into that situation more often, with some confidence behind it that you've done it once before. That whole window thing might sound a little confusing when you're still looking for the window, thinking about it. I'll give you a couple window hints for when you're going for the kiss. But the majority of the time, the problem guys have when they don't escalate, we call it, getting physical or moving things more intimate, is because he's waiting for permission from the girl. And that's where the big problem is you're waiting for her to spin her hair, give you some signal, laugh at your jokes 3 times, whatever makes you feel comfortable to move things forward. And yes, you develop that intuition, which is on some level, you see it and you can tell she's ready for it. But what I want you to do is start pushing it. Like I said before, push your comfort zone and do it even before you think is the right time. Because a lot of times by you moving things forward is what moves it forward. So you can't be waiting for her to do it. You have to create that even though I just had the awesome story where she helped me move it forward and gave me permission throughout the process. That's the rarity. The reason why I remember it is because it's the rarity. Usually what it is I go in there, hit the awesomeness really nicely, and then start taking action. What was that? Come over here. And again, anytime you get physical, use your environment or use anything as reasons to get physical. It's loud. What was that? I call it the tiger paw. Just grab her on the back of the neck, the nape of the neck, and go, what was that? Bum, 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 bum. You're probably going to have to yell in her ear, bring her mouth to your ear so you can hear her, bring her in, get more comfortable getting physical, get more comfortable with cutting the space. And these are the type of things that are going to move things forward. And you can't wait for her to give you some permission or wait for her to touch you first, because it's not going to happen. She has all this fear, all this built up tension about coming across as the slut. Sadly, for years and years and years, because so many chodes have this scarcity and they never get laid all the time, all these guys are sad and pissed off that they don't get laid. When they see a girl, they judge her whenever she's out having fun because it's a lot easier for her. Although it's not really easy if you think about it to be with a cool guy. She can settle for whatever a lot of the time. But to find a really cool guy, you are the rarity. Anyways, that's another side tangent. But because of that, she can't show off that she is sexually available or sexually open. You need to show that you're comfortable with it. You're comfortable with your sexuality. You're comfortable with physicality and intimacy. And because of that, then she can submit into your lead because you are the one leading it in that direction. And that's only going to come from you getting comfortable with it and doing it without seeing the opportunity, without seeing it, and just taking a risk. You need to take the risk. The woman will reward you for taking that risk. And all this works up to the close. Closing the deal, moving things forward, getting the number, going for the kiss, or pulling her home. And as I said before, you'll find these windows, you'll see when they happen. A great example for the kiss, the one thing we like calling it is either the doggy dinner bowl. I don't know where they get that one from. I like calling it the deer in the headlights. So when you see the girl, she's just kind of looking at you and getting closer. And that's basically the makeout face. When you see her giving you the makeout face, go for it. The only way you're going to really trust that intuition, trust that gut instinct, is by doing it enough times and you see it. I remember one time for me, a good example was I was at the pool. It was also in Vegas. I love going to Vegas. I'm there a lot. And some girl, it was noon, and she was looking at me, and I look at her, and I think, that's the makeout face. This can't be true. Her friends are all around. This is like a social gathering. Like, our friends are there. This isn't pickup. I didn't pick her up. We were just talking. But in my head, I think, trust in the faculties, trust your skill set. And I would have felt like less of a man if I didn't trust in myself and push that just to see if it was true. So all of a sudden, I go in. Like I said, it's bright. It's sunny out. She's wearing a hot-ass bathing suit. She's all wet. And in my head, I'm just thinking, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. And it happens. So again, by trusting in that intuition, that fucking cranked it up, reinforced it even more. And now whenever I see it again, I'm even more likely to go for it. I always say if you're getting the number every time you go for it, you're not going for it enough, because there's probably some opportunities where you missed it. But really for me, I think a solid number, it happens when you push the interaction as far as you possibly could. And for whatever reason, logistically, you weren't able to hook up that night. You weren't able to go home with her and have sex. For whatever reason that is, you end up getting the phone number instead. Those ones never flake, because I pushed it as far as I could, and she has no doubt that, okay, I know what this is about. This is how it's going to move forward. The times where I get the number and it doesn't work out is for whatever reason, I left early. Let's say I'm teaching boot camp and I have to find the students. So it's going really well, and all of a sudden I ask her, oh, can I get your number real quick? I got to go back to my friends. And she still gives me the number. It's her number. We maybe even text that night. But a lot of times those ones don't go anywhere, because in her head she starts thinking, well, why didn't he just stay with me? Did he really have to go back to his friends? Is he just too afraid? Does he not like me? I don't know. She could be thinking good or bad things. Either way, she starts thinking about weird shit, and she ends up just not responding because she doesn't want to take the risk, or she doesn't know who you are, or she loses the attraction. Who knows the reason why? But usually the times where I don't push it all the way, those are the times where the numbers don't work out. For the newbie again here, I want you just to start going for those numbers and following up on the numbers. Another thing that happens is as you go out more, you start building situational confidence in the nightclub. And you get more comfortable and more confident in that environment But then when you get the number, you're afraid to go on a day 2 because you start thinking, oh my God, I have to spend 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours with this girl. I'll run out of shit to say. I don't know what to do. I don't feel comfortable that long in the interaction. So even though you have those fears, you need to push through that and get comfortable with that as well. So stick in there that night, get the number, and push things forward. When you're going for the number, any sort of close, statements are always better. Questions always suck. So I always do it more as a authoritative statement. Hey, give me your number, right? Everyone comes up with their own things. Sometimes guys, they take their iPhone out and they just say, hey, get creative. And the girl takes the iPhone. It used to be that girls didn't have iPhones. Now everyone has a damn iPhone. So she knows how to work it as well, if not better than I do. So I can just give it to her to punch it in. And usually for me, I just get it quick, save it, put it away. I don't like the whole, hold on, let me call you real quick. Is it working? I'm not going to go through the whole process of worrying about if it's a real number, if it's a fake number. You don't want to be kind of coming from those low value headspaces. Again, would P. Diddy be thinking, oh shit, is this girl's number real? I better text her back to make sure she gave me the legit number. It's like, fuck that shit. I'm assuming that it's going to be the real number. I'm fucking awesome, remember? So as I get it, boom, put it away. And then I'm going to stick in there a little bit longer just to kind of further reinforce the situation, leave on a good note, and have everything end well. That's usually when I get a solid number. For the makeout, I talked about the window that you want to go for. Usually the main reason when guys have problems getting the makeout, getting the kiss, is because they aren't getting physical before that. They're talking to the girl for 20 minutes and there's a good 3-foot gap there where they're just talking to her. And then they come back to me and say, I can't believe it, for whatever reason, she wouldn't make out with me. I just can't cross that barrier. I don't know what's going on. And I tell the guy, dude, well, you're fucking 3 feet away and you're just statically chilling in the same spot. For you to go for the kiss, it's gonna be some sort of weird lunge thing and be a huge fucking adjunct to the conversation. It's not going to be moving things forward very smoothly. So what you want to be doing is, the 1 minute rule. Get a little bit of physical there. Bounce back. Maybe a little later, hands on hips. Start getting comfortable getting physical. Some of the other instructors, they'll give actual physical stack ladders where they're giving them different moves and techniques to work on. I think for every guy, you're going to find out what works for you. Just try a bunch of different things. Just start touching her, grabbing her, getting comfortable, leading, and make sure there's some reason behind it, whether you're bringing her in. Hands on hips. Ooh, I like those hips. I like those jeans. Pulling her in by the belt loop, cutting the space. Those are reasons why you can actually get physical. And then from there, it's going to be much easier to get the makeout. Because when you're like this, and you're holding her this close to you, to go for the makeout, it's just, it's right there. So the big thing is cut the space and get physical beforehand. And that'll take care of a lot of your work. Another little newbie trick, I haven't taught this in a really long time, so this is a nice little specialty golden nugget, is if you're talking to her in her ear and it's really loud, just at one point switch over to the other ear, and through that process there's a moment where you're face to face, and you can kind of slow down there and see if she's into it. I don't want you to start getting comfortable looking for permission from her, looking for that window. But a lot of times taking that minimal risk and kind of seeing, you'll see that makeout face and you can just go for it. If you don't, just switch back to the other ear in between there, and then you don't even have to fully commit. Although I kind of like it if you do just fucking fully go for it. Because what happens again is something that Ryan, one of the old instructors, used to say, is that every time you go for the makeout, it's only going to increase attraction. Now, why is that? You go for the makeout, you get it, hurrah, everything is fantastic. The other times, you go for the makeout, she turns her cheek, happens a lot, the majority of the time. What she wants to do, it's basically another shit test. She's testing to see how you respond. Are you going to emotionally respond to her turning her cheek? And if you do, you really valued the kiss, it was a big deal, and because of that, you're done. So what you want to do is go in for the kiss, you don't get it, you fucking laugh. You think it's funny that she freaked out. Or really quickly, flow off of it. So you go in for the kiss, she turns her cheek. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Just keep the conversation going. Don't look for a reaction and wait for that reaction and kind of make it a big deal. Just keep moving things forward and kind of misdirection over here, start talking again. So in her head, even though you're kind of thinking, holy shit, that didn't work, you keep talking, and in her head, she's thinking, oh my God, he tried to kiss me. And oh my God, does he like it? He didn't even care. This guy's so fucking cool. This is fantastic. He's so awesome. Boom, boom, boom. A minute goes by. Try it again later. For guys that once they hit that intermediate level and their problem is going for the makeout, getting the makeout, a lot of times what I'll tell them to do is just go for it on the opener. Get comfortable with it. So because guys are asking, when is the right time to go for the makeout? When is not the right time to go for the makeout? When is not the right time to escalate? You can always escalate. At this stage of the game, you're not going to ever blow yourself for over-escalating. As you get into the more advanced stages, I'm going to say to scale it back. But at this stage of the game, fuck it up on purpose. You really can't get too physical, because what you think is too physical, I know I've literally done 10 times that, whether it be slapping chicks in the face and fucking doing shit on the dance floor, getting physical, getting crazy on the dance floor. All these different types of things happen, but you need to get comfortable doing that and learning how to calibrate it at this stage of the game and not think, oh, Brad said I got to scale it back and be all smooth and subtle and shit. This is not where you're at all when you're at this stage of the skill set. Okay, so we talked about the makeout, we talked about the phone. The last close that we'll talk about is having sex and pulling her home that night. As we seek into the intermediate and advanced levels, the way this game is played, the way I play the game, is getting the girl home that night. And that relates mostly to my lifestyle, the fact that I'm traveling all over the place. And I have really no other means of meeting up with her and doing it some other night, because I'm just going to be out again. I go out 5-6 nights a week anyways. So for pulling her home that night, I remember when I took my boot camp, as I guess I was kind of in the intermediate level when I took my boot camp. The one thing that really confused me and I was conflicted by was I didn't know how to take the girl home. I could get in there, I could talk to her, get physical. I was pretty comfortable with that. I had a girlfriend for 8-10 years almost. And I just didn't know, you see that girl that night, how do you get her home? What do you do? What do you say? So I had my boot camp, and my instructor, who was Alex, he's a kick-ass instructor, on Saturday night, all of a sudden, we pulled some girls home. And I remember seeing him, we met him on the street, and all of a sudden he said, "Hey, let's go." And that's how it went. You just say, "Let's go." And at the time, I didn't even really think about it because it just looked so easy, and it looked like no big deal. But I thought about it the next day, and it was a huge epiphany for me, because I realized is you just say it like it is. You just say whatever, let's get out of here, and you just go. There used to be all these extravagant things like finding excuses, like, hey, let's check out my fish. Or I have these amazing YouTube videos back on my laptop at home. You must check them out. But the more you can get comfortable with just saying it like it is and saying, hey, let's just get out of here, the better. With that said, I know as you being a newbie and not having a lot of experience, it is good to be a little bit indirect here just to make it more comfortable. You might deal with a little bit more resistance once you get home, which we'll talk about in later videos, but you're gonna get more comfortable pulling girls home, and the more times you do it, the more you're gonna end up all the way, having it done, getting the girls in the bedroom. So what I want you to try is the after party, and that works great. You'll be in Europe, in Germany, we'll be like, Nachtspiel, night party or some shit. I don't even know what that means. After night, after fest. After fest, I think that's a Scandinavian one. But anytime in Madison, Wisconsin, we say A-bar, A-bar. What is an A-bar? It's me in my hotel room with my laptop speakers and the mini bar. That's all it is. Once we get home, usually things are all right. It's just getting her there. And a lot of times she just needs an excuse to tell her friends. So we go up to the friends and say, hey, we're having an after party. The problem is sometimes the friends want to come with. But if you can do it in a way that say, hey, after party, my place, me and you, let's go. And you just grab her, you lead her, move it forward. What she wants is she wants decisiveness. That's all she wants. She wants to see that you're comfortable with it and you're decisive about it. As I said before, if you really think about it, how many times does a woman have a one-night stand? How many times does she even have sex? I think the average woman has, 7, 10, 15 partners in her life. How many of those are actually one-night stands if you think about social circle and all those different things? It's pretty rare. So she doesn't really know what to do there. And even though you're the new guy and you haven't done it before, you don't really know what to do. You still have to be decisive and you still have to pretend. So just grab her by the hand, lead her, and say, hey, we're going after party, let's go. Boom. And make that trip home nice and fun. I always like doing things, bumping them into the walls if we're walking. If we're in a taxi and she's in the back seat, I'll be leaning back with my seat, keeping it fun, making sure to crank the radio, and making sure to keep the conversation light and fun the whole trip back. I remember the first time when I pulled a girl home. We call it pulling them home. The first time I pulled a girl home in a taxi, we got in the back seat. I was like, hey, let's go at my place. She said, okay. We get in the back seat, and all of a sudden I just go like this. Yes, it's going to happen. Fuck yeah. Meanwhile, I'm glowing in the afterlight. I turn over and I look at her, and her mind is racing. She's starting to get more logical and more logical, starting to freak out, thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I left with this guy. My friends are back there. How am I going to get home? I don't really trust him. I don't know where he lives. Oh my God, logical, logical, logical. So my goal is to keep her out of that headspace by playing around, joking around, getting the music going, having some fun with it, and keep it playful and fun all the way till you get back at your place. Even back at your place, just keep it playful and fun. And a lot of times that's what's going to lead into the bedroom. And since we are going through the whole process here, what we have is, again, approach, plow, verbal game, dealing with shit tests, blah, 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 talking shit, getting physical, hitting those windows, creating those windows by moving things forward. Hey, let's go, after party, getting her back to my place. Keep it fun, 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 fun. We're keeping it fun, keeping it fun. Misdirection, fun over here. And then usually what it is we'll be back at my place, enjoying it. And then after a while, let's say a couple minutes, I'll pour her a drink, pour myself a drink. As a side note, make sure not to put too much alcohol, because usually the next day I wake up and her drink, she has like one little sip out of it, even though it's like placebo effect where she's thinking, oh my God, I'm so drunk. I'm pouring her a drink out of being cordial. But usually they don't drink it. So if you pour a bunch of alcohol, you're just wasting it anyway. And sometimes they're like, oh, why do you pour it so stiff? So just pour them a drink, pour me a drink. And then after a couple minutes, once she gets comfortable in my place, usually I just pick her up over the shoulder, boom, 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 into the bedroom we go. And that's how it goes down at this level. So any questions about the end game, dealing with resistance in the bedroom? We'll talk about that in the intermediate level and some of the problems that come in there and how to prevent that before you even get in the bedroom, because that's even more important. And we'll get into all sorts of other fun things that you'll hit at the intermediate level. What I want you to do as you end here in the newbie timeline is to go through this whole process again and think about where you're at in this, no matter if you're at the intermediate or advanced level. Think about where fundamentally maybe you're not hitting things properly. I know for me, as I hit the advanced stages, I got really sloppy with the approach, because either I'd have wings or I'd just wing my student, or girls would give me really strong approach invitations, and I wouldn't have to do just that classic go in hard, plow, and then when it did happen, it caught me off guard because it happened so rarely. So I think it's really good to go back and work on the fundamentals, hit those approaches, get it down, fine-tune, rocking and rolling, and having a lot of fun with it. One last thing that I wanted to mention too here was for guys that are new and they're not going out a lot, there is actually a pattern and a flow that goes throughout the night. And what I want you to do is get comfortable with how the beginning of the night goes as opposed to the end of the night. A concept that is huge in RSD, something that is every fucking boot camp I teach really really hit this hard, is the idea of momentum and building momentum throughout the night. And I see a lot of guys at 10:30 focus on this end game shit. They're focusing on trying to close, get numbers, trying to pull girls home. And dude, it's 10:30 at night. You don't need to be worried about taking girls home. I've done it. It usually happens in Las Vegas, or they're partying all day at the beach party in LA or something like that. But the vast majority of the time this is going to happen is going to be about half an hour before the bar closes. So my whole night is sculpting it and developing it into this perfect, beautiful flower, this beautiful sculpture around where 1:30 or whatever, half an hour before bar close, I'm in the best possible mood. I'm in the best possible state. I've talked to a lot of girls. Maybe I have a couple prospects already. And now I'm getting into that zone of like time to play the game, time to get into the end game mode. So don't be at 10:30, at 11:30, at midnight, even in like once it gets about an hour or 2 hours before the club is closing, then it's time to bring the claws out and get into shark mode. I call it shark. You can tell there's blood in the water and we're rocking. Before then, completely let go of that and just have fun and start getting in the flow, getting in that good state. And especially if guys aren't comfortable, if they don't have a lot of experience going out, they don't even realize there's this transition throughout the night. You'll notice, let's say a club closes at 2 a.m. Around midnight, there's this transition where the music shifts. People get a little bit more freaky. Some people start making out, start grinding. And like I said, all of a sudden the music changes. It gets more housey and like deep hip hop and all that type of stuff. and it shifts. But the funny thing is too is all of a sudden if you leave the 2 a.m. bar and you go to the 5 a.m. bar, if it's a city like Chicago or Amsterdam or something like that, you think that, oh cool, it's 2:30, it's freaky time, and you get in there and oh holy shit, actually it's not. Everyone's just arriving, so you have to build up your momentum, get that chi back again, and then usually about an hour, half an hour before that club closes, again the blood comes out, blood in the water, shark mode happens, and that's the time to hit it hard again for the end game type stuff. So with that in mind, just kind of keep that as a nice little cheat indicator. If you don't have a lot of experience, start feeling the flow of the night based on wherever your city's at and based on the time that it closes, and start getting into some of this end game as you get more comfortable longer in your interactions. Cool. So what we're going to do next is go into the intermediate mindset and have a couple little addendums there for you, and then we're going to go through the same exact timeline again from the experience level of an intermediate and the sticking points that he might have and how to push through those. So I'll see you soon.